Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, my name is Fajrin, and this is my teammates Salma, Nafisatur, Ruwaida, Vyra, Pratama, Wulandari, Annida, Hidni, Fauziyyah, and Syafira Nurcahyani. We are students of English department at the University of Sultan Ageng Tirtayasa from class 3B. Today we are going to talk about why you should get vaccinated. Many people did not realize how dangerous is COVID-19. Although scientists say that severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2 or SARS-CoV-2, the virus which caused COVID-19 disease, is not the most contagious nor the deadliest virus ever in history, but this virus that was originated from bats and transmitted to humans that was first discovered in Wuhan, China, has been transmitted to more than 290 million people and caused deaths to more than 4.5 million people in the world in less than 2 years. Meanwhile, COVID-19 has infected 4 million people and killed more than 140,000 people in Indonesia alone, in a statistic shown by Wikipedia. Most people experience mild cases of COVID-19 according to scientists. Meanwhile, in some cases, usually among the elderly and people with chronic illness, COVID-19 may progress to pneumonia, acute respiratory distress syndrome or ARDS, and complication of organ dysfunction. The symptoms usually include fever, cough, sore throats, breathlessness, fatigue, and malaise among others, and some patients also showed symptoms of diarrhea, chest pain, confusion, and nausea based on reports from scientists. But what's even more scary is that many people who carry this virus are asymptomatic, and they are everywhere around us. For some people, getting infected with COVID-19 means more than just feeling sick. It can mean needing treatment they cannot afford, expensive hospital bills, risk of transmitting it to their loved ones, losing jobs and their only source of income, and fear of death for people with comorbidities. That's why COVID-19 is more dangerous than what we thought. This information is not intended to frighten you or make you overly fearful and panic about COVID-19, but at the minimum, you should be worried and try to protect yourself and your loved ones, because we are never really safe here, at least until we get vaccinated. Did you know that one dose of the anti-16-2b2 vaccine can effectively help you battle against COVID-19 infections up until 31% for Delta strain and 49% for Alpha strain? And 2 doses of this vaccine has up until 88% effectiveness in Delta variant and up until 93.7% of effectiveness against Alpha variant. Meanwhile, according to World Health Organization's 2 doses of Sinovac vaccine in Brazil has showed efficacy of 51% against symptomatic COVID-19 infections, 100% against severe COVID-19 infections, and 100% against hospitalization starting in 14 days after receiving the second dose. If we get vaccinated, we are not only protecting ourselves, but we are also protecting our loved ones and lowering the chances of them getting a virus transmitted from us. When our family and us are protected, at the same time, other families are protected too, as well as many other families around us. And when enough people in the community are vaccinated, it slows down the spread of disease and helps reach herd immunity faster. And someday, we all may go back to our normal lives sooner than we thought.
In the next statement, I will explain you about how distribution vaccine in around the world. A vaccine is the main topic of discussion as the COVID-19 case worsens around the world. Vaccines are the biological supposition used to produce adaptive resistance to certain infectious diseases. Why do we have to do vaccinate? Vaccines will map the pathway to prevent the transmission of the incurable disease, such as the COVID-19 disease that still have the highest case in around the world. Vaccines alone have the most needed benefits from human infants. Through a vaccine, the body is protected by forming an antibody response without getting sick. It means COVID-19 vaccines to be able to protect the human body from COVID-19. Not only that, if you get infected with the COVID-19 virus, vaccine can help prevent your body from getting seriously ill or potentially serious complications. Vaccination is also a vital program of government personnel around the world to establish the distribution of the COVID-19 case. Many countries have already vaccinated and produced positive results in the COVID-19 case, as well as the country that has started vaccination that will get a normal situation like before we got the COVID-19. Firstly, in this country, on the 2nd December, the UK became the first country in the world to approve Pfizer BioNTech for emergency use. The UK government ordered 40 million doses of the vaccine estimated to be enough for 20 million people, given that each person required 2 doses. Where Margaret Keenan, a 90-year-old grandmother, was been the first volunteer who got vaccinated. As of Monday, 21/12, according to Prime Minister Boris Johnson, more than 500 people have been given the first dose at an interval of 21 days before the second dose. Next on the UK is waiting the result of the final stage of testing a vaccine developed by Oxford University and AstraZeneca for further procurement. Second, Bahrain. Bahrain on 4th December was listed as the second country in the world to approve the emergency use of the Pfizer BioNTech vaccine. Then in China. So far, China has 5 vaccine candidates from 4 manufacturers in phase 3 clinical trials, including Sinopharm and Sinovac Biotech. While none have yet been approved for commercial use in China, the vaccines have been administered in a pre-test from in China where the number of cases is low. The vaccines are also being trialed in late stage in 50 countries outside China, including Indonesia, Turkey, and Brazil. The last, initially the United States or US have blamed Britain for being too hasty in approving the Pfizer BioNTech vaccine. But the country, through the United States Food and Drug Administration or FDA, also gave the green light for the same vaccine on 11 December, with Sandra Lindsay, who is a nurse in New York, being the first volunteer on Monday, 40/12. In addition to Pfizer BioNTech, the FDA has also added Moderna to the list of vaccines used in the country. Third, the number of countries vaccinating makes the COVID-19 positive number plummet around the world. Countries across the continent, such as Europe, Asia, Australia, and also America, have experienced a dramatic decline in the COVID-19 positive cases. The United States of America, home to approximately 333 million people, has reported a total of 33.8 million cases of COVID-19, or over 10% of its citizens have been infected from the COVID to July 7. As more and more Americans are vaccinated, that number has dropped significantly. Now that American daily figures of about 10,000 to 20,000 cases, the United States has injected 331 million doses of vaccine by July 7, with a ratio of 99 doses per 100 people. The vaccine used were Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson. Then, in Israel, before the discovery of the COVID-19 vaccine, the daily case rate in Israel reached 8,000 at its peak. With rapid vaccination movement, Israel began to move to a normal state in May. From those examples, we could prove that we must vaccine to break the COVID virus chain. And also, let's we go to hospital to get our first vaccines and then the second vaccine.
Nowadays, the spread of coronavirus in Indonesia has shown it has decreased. Basically, the government's target is to lower the case of COVID-19 cases to below 10,000 as long as the level-based PPKM haven't reached the target yet. However, many of the society in Indonesia feeling doubtful and refuse to get vaccinated. separate them into a couple of groups. According to this, the reason is because they're worried the side effects that will happen to them. In addition to that, they should understand that vaccines are inserted to the body to reduce the transmission of COVID-19. Based on a survey of 2,109 people regarding their willingness of COVID-19 vaccination, about 5% believe that the vaccine would help themselves from the coronavirus. Meanwhile, 41% feeling doubtful, and also 6% feeling it's unnecessary for them to prevent from the coronavirus. While 7% believe that getting vaccinated is unnecessary for them to save from the coronavirus. If you look back to the topic we're discussing today, what would you say? Would you say, oh, I do agree with your statements? Then I'd reply, thank you, that's what I'm expecting. But what if you say, I totally disagree with the statements you've told us? Well then, let me give you the right understanding and correct me if I'm wrong. So coronavirus has spread for 2 years long around the world, especially in Indonesia. Many people got infected and most of them died. On 2020, the range of people in Indonesia that got infected by the coronavirus is lower than 2021, which means by 2021, the number of people that got infected increased. Based on the data of the COVID-19 task force, about 13.5% of children in Indonesia got infected by coronavirus in 2021. For those reasons, one way that could protect ourselves, especially children, from virus is by getting ourselves vaccinated. Why? By getting vaccinated, it will protect our body's health and immune system. By getting vaccinated, it means you are protecting others too. And by getting vaccinated, you have the access to visit malls, museums, parks, etc. as you were before. Eventually, if you already got vaccinated before, it doesn't mean that you are free from obeying the health protocols. It doesn't mean that you will stay healthy in a long term, and also it doesn't mean that it will keep you safe from the coronavirus. On the other hand, these days, hoax news could easily spread everywhere by the help of advanced technology. The developments of technology. Many people in Indonesia still feel afraid of getting vaccinated. One of them is because they easily believe the news updates. Hence, it's really important to do research and making sure of us with the news updates whether it is true or fake news. For example, the news that used to spread nowadays is about vaccine which contains a microchip magnetics. Well, according to that, chairman of the Indonesia Technical Advisory Group on Immunization, Dr. Syafira Nurcahyani refused that. He thought that syringe hole is very small, therefore there won't be any magnetic particles which could pass through. The vaccine contains proteins, salts, lipid solvents, and does not contain metals. So let's get vaccinated. Don't wait for others to make you. It's for yourself, for the future of yourself.
Now, let's talk about challenges in implementing vaccination in Indonesia. Efforts to control the COVID-19 pandemic continue to race against time. Through its different COVID handling tasks, the national and regional governments have implemented a variety of methods. The government continues to finalize the vaccination plan through the roadmap or grand design of the COVID-19 vaccination in Indonesia. However, along with the plan, there are several challenges
the government in implementing vaccination. First, COVID-19 vaccinations are limited supplies. This is due to the lack of funds owned by Biopharma to buy bulk from abroad, which will be produced as a COVID-19 vaccine in Indonesia. The funds needed to buy the bulk raw materials for the COVID-19 vaccine are quite large and are even estimated to be in the trillions of rupiah. With limited funds available, Biopharma must continue to strive to meet the needs of the COVID-19 vaccine doses, considering that Biopharma is the only producer of the COVID-19 vaccine in Indonesia. Second, the problem of unequal distribution of the COVID-19 vaccine. A spokesperson on the COVID-19 vaccination of the Ministries of the Health, Siti Nadia Tarmizi, said that limited stock and technical production in the country were the obstacle to the uneven distribution of vaccination to several regions. Furthermore, as said by the Secretary General of the Ministries of Health, Indonesia is an archipelagic country with locations that do not have simple access to transportation. As a result of this lack of easy access, healthy workers must make extra efforts to reach isolated areas. In ensuring and maintaining the safety of the COVID-19 vaccine, vaccine distribution is carried out in stage starting from the central, provincial, district, and health facilities. Given that the safety and quality of the COVID-19 vaccines are very important, the central government and local government need to pay attention to transportation access in vaccine distribution and continue to use the producer set by the Ministry of Health. Third, the hoax in the community about vaccination. The government claims that the number of the hoax in the community is one of the biggest challenges in implementing the coronavirus vaccination process in Indonesia. Niken Widyastuti, the head of the Public Communication Committee for the handling of COVID-19 and the National Economic Recovery, said that fraud made people skeptical of the government's vaccine development. The circulating hoax that the COVID-19 vaccination policy raised pro and contra in the community. Finally, we can say that found many hoaxes related to the effectiveness and safety of the vaccines. Of course, this is the most significant impediment to implementing or protecting the community from many harmful diseases that can be averted through vaccination.
Vaccination is something that must be done to provide protection against viruses. This of course applies during the current COVID-19 pandemic. To reduce the transmission rate of the COVID-19 virus, people around the world, including Indonesia, are required to vaccinate. With vaccinations, the body's resistance to viruses will be better, thereby reducing the risk of contracting the virus. When the spread of the viruses decreases, the number of deaths of COVID-19 will decrease. The task of health workers will be also later because the number of infected people are decreasing. In addition, to maintain immunity from viruses, vaccination is also very important to activity in public places. This is because the vaccination certificate card is a requirement for taking public transportation and going to public places such as malls, amusement parks, restaurants, even for hotel reservation. A person who has not been vaccinated will have difficulty because not have vaccination certificate card. Although vaccination has many benefits, there are still many people who have not been vaccinated. The causes are varied, starting from worrying about the side effects of vaccines, being hesitant to vaccinate, even believing in hoaxes and conspiracy theories about vaccines. Some people have not been vaccinated said that they had difficulty for registering vaccinations and finding the nearest location for vaccination. Therefore, education about vaccination is very important for everyone to receive. Information about COVID-19 and vaccinations can be obtained easily on the internet. However, information that is abundant and easy to obtain is not necessarily true. As wise citizens, we need to check whether the information we get is valid news. Do not easily accept that hoaxes and news about vaccines that have not been proven true. Public figures can spread valid news to the public so that more people are educated about vaccination. We can also take part in educating our family members and closest relatives about vaccination and inviting them to participate in vaccination. Understand why they don't want to be vaccinated and don't underestimate their worries about vaccines. Listen patiently to their complaints and their opinion about vaccinations. After that, explain to them about vaccinations and provide facts about vaccinations. We can also accompany them to the vaccinations process so that they avoid to being afraid, nervous, or worried. Don't forget to explain to them that muscle ache, fever, fatigue, headache, and pain in the injection site is common side effects after the vaccine. After drinking more water, compressing affected body parts, and taking the right dose of paracetamol, the body will recover and return to health as before. As previously explained, vaccination is very important to do in the face of COVID-19 pandemic. If the entire community has been vaccinated, it will create herd immunity and COVID-19 will no longer be a thing to worry about. The viruses will be difficult to spread in infected older people. When there are no more infected people, the virus will be destroyed and we can do all our activities before the pandemic. We free go to anywhere, no longer need to wear mask up to 2 layers, and we are not required to carry hand sanitizer everywhere. We can interact with other people without worrying about contracting the virus. Then, many events involving large crowds and they can be resumed without having used strict health protocols and limit the number of people. Schools, college, and offices can reopen. Employees can return to work in their offices. Students no longer sit for hours of their laptops or cell phones to study. They can go back to school or campus. And most importantly, there are no more stories about people who have lost their family members due to this pandemic. Imagining a peaceful life from the virus is already very beautiful, isn't it? Therefore, we must immediately make it happen so that our country quickly recovers from the pandemic. So, what are you waiting for? Let's get vaccinated.